Hello, I'm Nick Crawley. Welcome to the Bible for Life ministry and this short video where I'm introducing the Gospel of John. John's Gospel is for many Christians their favourite book of the Bible. And this is probably because of the wonderful conversations that Jesus has with a whole range of different people recorded in the Gospel. People like Nicodemus, who comes to Jesus at night because he's frightened of what other people are going to think. People like the woman at the well in Samaria, who Jesus talks to in midday as she's collecting water. And or it may be the conversation that Jesus has with Mary Magdalene on the resurrection morning, which is where he has this wonderful conversation is recorded. She thinks that he's the gardener, and then he shows and he says to her, Mary, and she turns and they have this wonderful exchange. Or perhaps you love the Gospel of John because of the conversation that Jesus has with his disciples on the night just before he was killed. There's a number of chapters describe this wonderful time when Jesus opens up and says so many deep and important things to them. Now the Gospel is it's important to realise why it was written. It says very clearly in chapter 20 and verse 31, "These things are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name." That particular statement sums up the entire direction of the whole Gospel, and it's very important as we look at John's Gospel and engage with it, we understand where everything's leading, and this verse says very clearly what is happening. In order to make this point and show that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, John has collected 7 sayings, often referred to as the I am sayings. I am the bread of life, I am the good shepherd, I am the true vine. And culminating in this great statement that I am the resurrection and the life, just before he raises his friend Lazarus from the dead. So there's the I am sayings, but there are also 7 signs. The first one is when he changes the water into wine at the wedding of Cana, and starting his ministry with a great flamboyant demonstration that this is the banquet, the prophesied in the Old Testament. The Messiah has come and the banquet is ready. And of course that idea occurs elsewhere in Jesus' teachings. It's a foretaste of what is to come. So there are these patterns, these structures that John has built into his description, his portrait of Jesus. Another theme which we must see, which is running through Jesus' teaching, is Jesus' emphasis and teaching about the Holy Spirit. John's Gospel is one of the clearest statements and contains the most teaching on this gift that God is going to give to the church, to the followers, the community of believers, when Jesus, after Jesus has returned to be with the Father. And the John's Gospel contains some of the defining statements of what it means to be a follower of Jesus. What it means to be a disciple. John 15 and verse 8 says, "By this is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit, proving yourselves to be my disciples." So a disciple is one who bears fruit. Jesus says, "If you continue in my word, you're truly my disciples, and you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free." And then Jesus also says, "This is a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, even as I have loved you. By this all men will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." And so there's a great deal of teaching about what it means to be a follower of Jesus. But the great message of John's Gospel, and this is absolutely incredible, but is that Jesus not only reveals who God is and reveals the Father and is himself revealed by the Holy Spirit, but that we are, as his followers, are welcomed into a relationship with this Trinitarian God. And the whole thing culminates in this wonderful prayer, John 17, where Jesus talks to the Father and prays that we will be one with him, even as they are one. And it's an amazing prayer, and that is where this is all going, the whole direction of John and the call that is there. And so John's Gospel is very carefully constructed. It is put together into two halves, and we just need to spend a lot of time wallowing in it. I've made a number of podcasts simply where I read John's Gospel, and we just need to listen to the stories. Because as Jesus says in John chapter 6 and verse 63, the words I speak to you are spirit, and they are life.